Hello, welcome back to another splendid episode of the Big Mouff Media podcast. And we have a special treat for you tonight. We're going to chop it up with, a well known author, creative writer. She's going to give us the expertise on evolving as a writer. So, without further ado, I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aja Pearl, and I have been a self published author since the year 2014. That's when I started my first book. And I finished my first book on Christmas Day 2017. And it is entitled Chalice, the Book of Life. It is part of a trilogy that I'm working on. It's called the Chalice trilogy. And the two other books to follow is Chalice, the Book of Love, and Chalice, the Book of Forgiveness. So, a little bit about Chalice, the Book of Life. It takes place in the city during the 1980s, and it's not just one story; it's multiple stories woven into one. You have you have a storyline pertaining to a young lady who got her heart broken by her first love, and 2 weeks after she found out that she got that they broke up, she found out that she's pregnant. There's another storyline of a entrepreneur and his wife, and they open up a bar in the forbidden part of the city, which is the LGBTQIA section of the city. So that's a challenge for them, especially during that time. And then you have a struggling singer who wants to fulfill his dream, but unfortunately he is married to this horrible woman, and they have three beautiful children together. But again, he's in this unhappy marriage that he deeply regrets, and he dies. So there's like multiple
Hmm.
there's I mean there you got subjects going. I mean, they all fall under the umbrella of religion, Christianity, but you have unplanned pregnancy, LGBTQIA, um, arranged marriages, drug abuse, child abuse. It's a little bit of something for everybody. And so far, those who have read the book can relate to at least one of the characters. That's Child's Book of Life. My second book I wrote is called The Pink Foxhole, completely different from Child's Book of Life, and it's an erotica, and it has 7 short stories, and it's not just about sex. There's some sci-fi to it as well, and it all has like a moral to it. It always has like some insight at every short story. And I also include sexual trauma because I think as a society we should be more, not just empathetic, but more sensitive and more compassionate to those who unfortunately endured sexual trauma. So those are my two books, Chalice, the Book of Life, and The Pink Foxhole.
Mm, interesting. So, we just gonna talk about evolving as a writer. So, upon starting to write, so when did you knew that you have the gift of writing, and when did you start writing? And what was you journaling first before you became an author, or how did it work for you?
Well, I'll say this. I never wanted to be a writer. Never. Um, I feel like writing was chosen for me by God, but I will say that I did journal, but then after a while it got boring. So I just didn't do the journal anymore. I never written anything. I didn't write any poetry or anything like that. But I did have a vivid imagination. I just didn't know how to put it on paper.
Mm,
So um I so I was in high school, and even though I was struggling in English, my English teacher told me that I had a gift for language. Now at the time I had no idea what she meant, but I figured, well, if it's a gift, then it must be a good thing. So, but it wasn't until I became an adult that I believe, because I have a vivid imagination and because of what I went through, God felt that I should be a writer. Um, and a lot of people have told me that I should write, but I'm like, okay, I should be a writer, but what should I write about? I mean, I don't know what to write about. And then, like, I've learned that the number one rule in writing is write what you know. Okay, I should write what
mm-hmm,
I know, but again, what do I write? So one day I'm hanging out in my friend's house, and I just had a brand spanking new laptop, and one character came into my head, and then another character came into my head, and then another, and then another, and then another, until it just branched out into a whole different story. Then that story branched to another story, and then that story branched out to another story, and that's how Chalice, the Book of Life, was born.
mm.
And
So,
I
okay,
just
so just to briefly take us back, as those characters are being birthed, being born, um, did you was there a vision of different scenes or different time zones that they will be in, and how did you paint that picture? Because it seems like that you're great at what you do, and so painting that vivid picture where the reader will understand, how this happened and how this transpired, and the reader will want more and more and more. So, upon you writing the book, so when you went back and proofread and you was reading what you had already written, like what type of mental space and emotional space were you in upon going back to read what you have written? And when you say, oh, I really can do this author thing, I really can be a creative writer, I may can even turn this into a TV series or a movie script. Like, so, so what type of space was you in?
well, I did think about it. I think that's actually my ultimate goal, is for my books to become a TV series. I don't want it to be a movie. I want it to be a TV series, and the reason why I want it to be a TV series is because a TV series is more relatable. You could, I mean, as opposed to a movie being shown for a few months, and then it goes away until you see it on cable TV or Netflix or what have you. I want my book to come out on television, on a TV series, so that people can see it every week. So it's like watching This Is Us, or watching Pose. Something that's like family oriented, something that can be relatable to the character. Like oh wow, I'm looking at my favorite character, and because I can relate to that character, or I know somebody who is just like that character, you know.
Hmm.
Um uh, so yeah, And then furthermore, when I was writing this, I figured, this is therapeutic for me. And it's funny you mentioned that, because while I was writing this book, I had to think about, why am I writing this book? Because I'm coming up with these great
Mhm.
stories, these great characters with these great backstories. Why am I writing this book? And I'm like, okay, it's because it's therapeutic for me. And not only is therapeutic for me, it can be therapeutic for somebody else. So that encouraged me to keep writing. If
Mhm.
I could, if one person was to read that book, read my book, and was connect to one character, then I feel like I've done something right.
Mhm. So, okay. So with that being said, um, have you tackled on trying to create any type of script or no?
No, no. I still feel like I'm green to this writing thing, so I haven't like I haven't like thought about writing a screenplay about it, but I feel like I haven't gotten to that level yet for someone to say, "Hey, we like your book. We love the stories in that book. Let's turn it into a show." And then maybe we can turn it into a screenplay. So I don't think I've gotten to that level, but
Hmm.
yes, that is my ultimate level, to become a to for my book to become to be put on television.
So okay, so you said that you had a scene in there, or some scenes in there about where a bar was open, but it was open in the LBGT community. So tell me about that
Right.
setting in the book.
Okay. So there's this guy, and he's an entrepreneur, and he comes from a Christian family, and he and his wife, who is his partner, they want to open up their own business. They don't want to do a 9 to 5. They want to open up their own business. And so what they do is that they want to open up a bar. Now the family's like, that's a no-no in their family, because they feel like that alcoholism is the devil's nectar or whatever. So that's a no-no off the bat. Okay.
Okay.
So they find the cheapest real estate in the most forbidden part of the city. Like I said, at that time it's considered forbidden, because this is the 1980s, and AIDS and HIV was like running rampant, and the group
Hmm.
that it was attacking was the LGBTQIA community. So no one didn't want to be around anybody who was gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, whatever. Nobody.
Hmm.
So they had their own space, and the rest of the world had their own space. But this couple took a leap of faith and said, "You know what?
Okay.
We're gonna open up our bar in this community, and everyone is welcome. Everyone was welcome to this bar." Unf- but the residents of this neighborhood came to this establishment, and I consider the name of the bar is called New Kirk's, and New Kirk's is, the way I see it, is a cheers for the LGBTQIA community. I consider it to be a cheers for the LGBTQIA community, even though it was welcome to anyone of all walks of life. It was a a place for the LGBTQIA community to just relax and just be themselves, and just you know to get away from their problems just for a little while. I really thought that was important to put that in there, because it was the 1980s, and the LGBTQIA community went through a lot, especially with the stigma, with this AIDS stigma attached to them. So that's why I said, so that's why I wrote down, like, you know what, I'm gonna put them. They said I'm gonna put down that they establish a bar, and it's and the bar is in this section of the city that is considered forbidden.
Mm. So upon writing that, did you have to put did you have to put your mind in a different type of space, or was you kind of did you have a vivid imagination about what you heard as a person growing up and the things that was said about that community and about people that were gay and stuff like that. So because back in the 80s, early 90s, I I really think that people just started opening up like that from 2010 on up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I can even remember in the early 2000s, like I know people that hid it from their parents for a long, long time. So upon saying that and what you're writing in your book, I'm pretty sure you know people that did that a lot, right?
Absolutely.
Because
I've Even as a child, I would hear the word faggot or dyke heard in heard in my family. Like, I would hear members of my family refer to gays and lesbians as those ugly terms. Even when I say it now, it
hmm
just sounds so ugly when I say it, you know?
hmm
It's like calling a black person the N word, you know? But
hmm
I just thought that, like, growing up, I thought being gay or lesbian was a bad thing because that's what I heard. And that was the tone that was used. Like, oh, it's a bad thing. It's bad when you're gay. It's a bad thing that you're gay. And I've known a lot of people who came out to their family and got thrown out of their homes because they were gay, or they were lesbians, or they just simply ran away because they're like, you know what, I can't live in this environment. I can't even be my true self. I have to, and that's another thing. They had to, like, um suppress their true selves to appease their family. Like like a man who's gay, they would appease their family, marry a woman, have children with this woman, even though they know in their hearts that they're gay. And it's
hmm
really, really sad how, and even though this is 2022, there are still people who can't be their um their authentic selves. And it's sad because the family members, they just don't accept them. It's like, oh, what if it's like, what if I done to make you this way? You didn't do anything. They make it sound like
so
being a LGBTQI. Go ahead.
well, I mean, a lot of people, and me myself, you are who you are. As long as you treat me accordingly, we okay. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't have nothing to do with anyone's lifestyle. I just say, I just hope they have a relationship with God. I hope they have a spiritual connection with God. You know what I mean? And I leave it at
Hmm.
that. You know what I mean? When somebody asks me about what I think, I leave it at that. And so, with that being said, a lot of people have certain beliefs. A lot of people values values are a certain way. And so when it comes to the LBGT community, you know, they don't they don't feel like it's they don't feel like they need to see it with the naked eye, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And so their opinion is their opinion. But at the same time, if you are who you are and you believe in yourself and 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 you you gotta live your life to how you see fit. So if you live your life for how you see fit, then I don't think that you should worry about it. That's your business. And that's nobody's business but yours. It's just not what other people think, or it's not what I mean, either people gonna accept you or they not. And for those the ones that don't accept you, that's probably a million more that will. So I just think
Mm,
that's how people think. So I'm not the crucifier, I'm not the judge, and I'm not the jury. So we
mm,
all have to take into account for our own actions. So if that's something, if that's your lifestyle, that's your lifestyle. But back to your book, it's interesting how you kind of take it back to the 80s and what people thought and how people reacted, and you put it in your book. So that kind of gives the reader a different mindset. How would I think about this back in the 80s? Or how would I think about this
mhm,
back in the 90s? Uh,
mhm,
or how did my grandparents think about this? Or because sometimes you don't discuss stuff like that with your grandparents, your mother and father, because it don't happen in your immediate family. So you really don't bring it up. You don't discuss it. You might hear your father say, and he might be like, I'm gonna just leave it at that. So, and then you might
mhm,
hear somebody else say, man, what happened to them when they was young? And
mhm,
sometimes it happens to something does happen in their intermediate years, in their youthful years.
mhm,
You know what I mean?
mhm,
All you have other people who just, I guess they like what they like, and so But for you to put it in your book, I think is amazing. I think it entices the book. It gives the book balance, and I
thank you.
think that I think you're gonna wow some people when you put that thing on a script. And so when you write that script, please get it over to me because I know a few people that will help you for sure. So yeah, I
Thank
definitely
you.
know a few people. You know what I mean? Up in New York, Atlanta, Cali. So yeah, I definitely know a few people. So let's talk about is there would there be a sequel part two of this book that we're discussing now?
Yeah. Like I said, it's part of a trilogy. So the next book is coming up. It's called Chalice, the Book of Love. And the characters that are children in Chalice, the Book of Life are a little bit older. They're teenagers now. And they're
Uh-huh.
going through all sorts of growing pains. Um,
Hmm.
it's really it's a it, the you the reader will go further down the rabbit hole. Now there's a um there's a murder. There like there's some mystery in there. There's um there's there's a lot of LGBTQ relationships there. There's two.
So there's a lot of mystery in there, and there's a lot of scenes in there that gives another sequence, all kind of twists and turns. And correct.
Yeah, it goes a whole lot deeper. Like you have one kid, he suffers from Stockholm syndrome because he's been sexually abused by his godfather, who he does not know is also his uncle. So you have some incest there. as well. Then
Mm.
you have, yeah, yeah, and that kind of stuff is real. That's real. Okay. Then you have
Mm.
two girls who are still trying to figure out their sexuality. No, not two girls. One girl's trying to figure out her sexuality, and she gets with this guy, and they have a baby. But the only reason she got with this guy is because one, he was crushing on her. So and to in order to appease her mother, who is homophobic, she gets pregnant with this guy. But but she wants to be with this girl, and this girl wants to be with her. But it's like she's playing
Mm.
mind games with this girl because she doesn't know who she want to be with. Does she want to be with this guy, or does she want to be with her? And then you have another girl who is the sister. She's crushing on her own stepfather.
Mm.
uh
Ooh.
yeah. So
Whoa.
Chalice, the Book of Love, is very
Like,
heavy.
like Black Rob RIP said, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's all type of twists and turns and like, oh my, like, so I can see why the reader stay tuned. You know what I mean? I see why the reader is like sitting up in their seat and and crunching their knuckles and like, oh my. Like, so, it
Clutching the
gives them
pearls.
imagination. Right, 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 right. So it gives them imagination like, man, when is she gonna put this? When is she gonna put the TV series out? Cause it sounds like it'll be something great this on TV. It sounds like it'd be great. So
Yeah.
on to you said you have is it in the pink hole? That's the name of it?
The Pink Foxhole.
The pink foxhole. Okay, sorry about that. The pink foxhole. And so that's type of
Hmm.
erotic book with all type of temptation and sexual desires and mind games and all the above, correct?
Yes.
So let's go to the creation part first, and then we'll get into the book. So upon creating this book, this novel, um,
Hmm.
I just need to know. I just need to know what that mind space was like. Was there some emotional barriers that you had to cross? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need to know what that mind space was, and was there some emotional barriers that you had to cross to put you in that creating writers, spectrum, so you can continue to write from a erotic place.
Well, I just wanted to like, I don't know, I guess I just wanted to like, I don't want to say put out my sexual side, but I wanted to put like a really sexy book out. And I'm like, you know what?
Hmm.
I don't want to just write about sex because that's boring. It has to be like some kind
Uh-huh.
of theme or something that's like that would like grab the reader's attention. So one day
Right.
I'm looking at one of my favorite shows, The Twilight Zone. I am a sci-fi
Okay.
geek. I love The Twilight Zone. Love, love, love The Twilight Zone. So I'm looking at The Twilight Zone and I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna add some sci-fi to this this sexy book. So the first short story I wrote about is about a no, so no, let me backtrack. So the first thing I thought, I'm like, okay, so sci-fis usually have robots, ghosts, and anything pertaining to the mind. So I'm like, okay. So the first story I wrote about was about not exactly a robot, but a doll.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of them sex dolls, those pleasurable dolls. And it's about a couple who wants to get back to this gets the spice back into their relationship. So they purchased this doll,
Uh,
and it works. And the first night they're having mind blowing sex with this doll. The sex is amazing with this doll, okay? But things go wrong, and they end up cheating on each other with this doll because they think that this doll is talking to them. They think the doll is communicating with them, but in actuality, it's all in their head.
so back up, Sister Pearl. Back up. So back up. Stop the press, as they say on Martin Luther. Stop the press. Hold up. So you have a scene where this
Hmm.
couple they're trying to spice up their sex life again. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So they purchase a doll. They
Hmm.
purchase a sex doll, and so
Right.
in their minds, that they feel like he's cheating with the doll, she's cheating with the doll, and so they now are accusing each other of cheating. Correct?
No, no. The thing is
Okay.
that even though they're having
Okay.
sex with this doll, the three of them are having sex with this doll. One is having sex with the doll, and the other one is having sex with the doll. Now they they're having now even if they're not just having sex with this doll, what they're the thing is that they think that that the doll is communicating with them. The doll is communicating with them, and the doll is saying, "Look, I love you. I want to be with you. Forget about the other person. Let's just run away together. It'll be just the two of us and blah blah blah." It's all in their head. They think the doll is communicating with them when in actuality it's all in their head.
Wow. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Talking about creative writing with a sick twist. Wow. Wow. So you're really good at what you do, I see.
Mhm.
And so getting back to the book. Okay. So another erotic scene. Can you give us a brief description and give us the sick, twisted turns of the other erotic scene? Cause how many chapters you have in the book?
Just 7.
Just seven. Okay, so in all seven paints a different type picture, correct?
Exactly.
All right, so continue.
Okay, so that's one story. The second story is about a guy who goes to jail, and he is incarcerated
Hmm.
for 17 years. And in his cell there's a pinup poster. And it's a pinup poster of a guy from the 1970s.
Uh-huh.
And what's so special about this pinup poster is that he has conjugal visits with the inmate in that cell for whatever time this inmate is in this particular cell. Now, this particular inmate gets attached to this pinup, and the pinup is like, "Look, I'm just here for your entertainment and your pleasure. I cannot go with you. I cannot have a future with you. I'm just a pinup." And he's
Hmm.
not trying to hear that. He's like, "No, I can change that. If I just love you enough, you can be real and we could have a future." He's like, "Dude, why are you messing up a good thing? Just enjoy the moment." So when his sentence is finished, he takes the pin up, right? And he ends up at this halfway house. So he puts it on his wall, and for weeks he's waiting for this guy to come and pretty much have pleasure with him like he did before, but it never happens. So he just gets fed up and just throws a pinup away.
Mm.
And then you have another story.
Wow.
Yeah. Then you have
You
another
wicked
short
with it. You
story
wicked
of
with it.
Wicked. Then you
You
have
wicked
another
with
short
it.
story of
Yeah.
the sorry?
I say you wicked with it. That means that your writing skills are sick. Like, wow. That's that's that kind of remind me of a show that I seen on Netflix called what is it called? The Originals.
Oh,
You ever
really?
seen that show?
I've
Yeah, you
never
ever
I've
seen the show
never
Originals?
mm-mm. I need
You
to
should
check it
definitely watch
out.
that series. It's different. Yeah, it's different. It's different. So it's all type of it's basically about you know wolves, vampires, and witches back in ancient times.
Oh,
But it's definitely sci-fi. So
yeah.
you would definitely enjoy it. So you would definitely enjoy it. So, but anyways, back onto your next story.
Mhm. Okay, so this is about a woman who is a child psychotherapist, right? She's a
Hmm.
well-renowned child psychotherapist. What's so ironic is that even though she is a
Okay.
well-renowned child psychotherapist, she has unresolved child trauma she has to deal with. And she hasn't,
Okay.
it's not like she's been ignoring it. She has a
Hmm.
mental block of what happened to her. She doesn't remember this particular
Hmm.
incident that happened to her. So this incident comes to her in a form of a child, which is her, but she doesn't know that the child is her. So this particular child is forcing her to face her unresolved child trauma. And when she does,
Hmm.
it almost costs her life. So that's one story. And the thing is, this particular child trauma involved a grown man um who was strangely attracted to her. Good to see you too, Angelique. Um he was strangely attracted to her. Mind you, she's 10 years old. She's a 10-year-old girl. And he's strangely attracted to her, and he tried to kiss her, and she backs away, and she tries to run away, and he gets upset, and but I'm not gonna tell you the whole story. uh, thank
So
you.
Miss Miss Angelique says she loves the variety of topics that you cover in your writing. And yes, you're right, Angelique. Her writing is very exclusive. Her writing is different. It's not boring. It keeps you up on your heels. It kind of it evolves your mind like from story to story. It puts your mind at a different place. So I'm just hearing, and and your erotic novel is it's pretty how can I say, it's pretty intriguing to say the least, Miss Pearl. It's truly intriguing to say the least. So with that being said, let's go to one of your other stories because a lot of people don't know, man, the eroticness of a writer engages into how they can paint a picture on film to really woo the minds of millions. And so, with that being said,
Mhm.
I'm just interested to see what you have to say where this writing is going to take you. I'm interested to see that you can definitely get some type of awards, and I'll be like, oh wow, I interviewed her on my show, and there she is. I see her at the Oscars, and there
Ah!
she is. So, but go to continue. Go to continue.
Um, well, okay, I don't want to say all, like, I don't want to describe like the whole book, but I will say that one is entitled Katrina Two Face, and Katrina Two Face was inspired by the Twilight Zone episode Man in a $4 Room. Um, the last short story I just described, that is entitled Blank, and Blank was inspired by the Twilight Zone episode Nightmare of a Child. And then you have
Mm,
the last my last short story entitled Patty and Me, and Patty and Me is was inspired by the Twilight Zone episode um Living Doll. So some of
mm,
my yes, some of my short stories was inspired by these Twilight Zone episodes. Like, they really jumped out at me.
mm.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, you broke down some of your writing. So, with that being said, do you already have, like, say you said you was gonna shoot a short story, 30-minute short
Mhm.
story, right?
Right.
Do you already have some people that you would want to contact to be in the story, or would you do a live and raw and cut casting call?
What I would do is I would like to include actors and actresses that are just getting started. I don't want to like include somebody who made it, because
Okay.
I'm just getting started as well. I want to give somebody a chance who is just getting who has dreams of becoming a actor or actress, which also brings me to the fact that I started a petition to open up a school entitled the Cicely Tyson School for Performing Arts and Fine Arts in East Harlem in New York. And the reason why even though she has a school in New Jersey, I just found out recently that Cicely Tyson grew up in the same neighborhood as me, which was East Harlem in New York, and it just really blew my mind because I'm like, wow, this icon grew up in the same neighborhood as me. And I'm like, it would be so fitting it would have a school named after her and after her craft. Because I know for a
Mm,
fact there are a lot of kids who have dreams in becoming a thespian, a dancer, a musician, a singer, or
uh-huh.
whatever. So why not have it
Right.
in East Harlem? Why not? And
Okay.
I'm a former resident of East Harlem. I'm West Indian descent. Only difference is by the time Miss Tyson got to my age, she was already famous. um,
Yeah.
and plus she chose the theater,
Been
and I
famous for.
chose literature. Well, literature chose me.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you heard it first. She's trying to curate something to keep the legacy living, and that's noble and honorable of you. I salute you for that. So, but I do want to say you have really wooed me and wowed me. Just giving me a brief description of your writings and things of that nature, and so I just want you to give yourself a hand clap and just keep pushing, keep doing what you do. And
Thank you.
let's read some of the comics. Miss Pierce says, "What do you do to keep your writing from going stale? Do you read a lot or research different topics regularly or listen to a variety of music or people watch?"
That's a really good question, and I just want to say that I've always had a vivid imagination ever since I was a little girl, and I think it stems from watching television, um, it just just coming up with my own stories and stuff like that. Like I get ideas
Right.
from anywhere, anywhere. I mean, yeah. So even ideas from my own life.
Right, right. Okay, okay. So when people see you and they know about your writings and stuff like that, or when they don't, when they haven't seen you, but they have just seen you online about your writings and what you have going on, how does that make you feel as a writer? How does that enhance your creativity even more?
Well, like I said, I don't write for clout, and I don't write, for
Right.
for money or whatever the case may be. I write to help people. I write to educate people. I
Mhm.
write to reach out to people because there are some people who feel like they feel like they're the only one that's going through what they're going through, and then come to find out when they read one of my books, it's like, wow, this person is going through the
Right.
same thing like I'm going through. Like right now, I'm working on a book called Are the Kids All Right? And Are the Kids All Right is about unresolved childhood trauma. And I know a lot of us have unresolved childhood trauma. And was that a difficult rabbit hole to get into? Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Because I have resolved childhood trauma. So again, it was therapeutic for me, and I'm sure that whoever reads it will be therapeutic for that.
Okay. 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 Fair enough. Fair enough. Sounds good. And um, I already knew you didn't write for clout. That's nah, because your mind is too abroad to write for clout. So that's like that's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? That's neither here nor there, sweetheart. So your mind is too abroad for that. So, and with that being said, what are some of the things we can expect from you as a writer for years to come? How do you think your writing is going to wow generations for years to come?
I feel that hopefully for years well, I already told my son. I told my son, do not throw my books away. Where I write down my little
Right.
notes and whatnot. I said, don't you throw my books away because I want either my
Hmm.
grandkids or my great grandkids to know what their nana was. I don't care. Like I write anything in my books, whether it's a shopping list or what. I said I want them to know what type of
Hmm.
person I was. I want them to know where my mindset was at this particular time. You know what I'm saying? I want them to know like and if I do have a grandchild or a great grandchild that inherits my creative spirit, they're like, "Wow, Nana was just like me." And they will have that spiritual
Right.
connection with me even though I'm not physically there. They will have that physical their spiritual connection through my writing. And
So
then they'll
when
and
you're
then they'll say,
writing,
"Wow, huh?
right? So when you're writing, how often do you write in third party?
How I'm sorry, what was that? What do you mean?
How often do you write in third party? And meaning
Like other
that when you're writing, yes, like in third party, like when you're writing in third party, that means that you're that you're writing from a distance. You're not writing in the story you're involved, but in the back of your mind, you already got the next story painted. So therefore, you're kind of writing in third party because you already got the character, you already got what you're going to write about, when you're going to write about it. But at the same time, you still got to stay focused on what you're writing right then and there. So in the back of your mind, you still writing in third party. That's what I mean.
I write in third party all the time. All the time. All the time. In
Okay.
fact,
Okay.
yeah, all the time. Because I got all these characters in my head, and I'm like, okay, I gotta
Uh
write
huh.
this character. I gotta write this person's name. Gotta write this person's backstory. Because if I don't, I'm a forget. So I gotta write it down. So even though I haven't started on that
Okay.
particular story or that book yet, I have to make a note of their name and their backstory and what they're about. So yeah, I write it. So third party all the time.
I can dig it. I can dig it. So that's what's up, man. It's been so wonderful chopping it up with you, finding out more about you. Cause
Thank you for having me.
it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I mean, I'm so glad that I really had the chance to chop it up with you, man. Because you know, you you definitely a different type of beast. When it comes to writing, like I don't. Yes, yes, yes. I feel like once you really get that script down pat and you start writing these scripts, movies, TV series, you know, the documentary, the the evolution of the creative process of writing. Like people want to know, that's a whole documentary. That's a whole from a author's perspective, from a blogger perspective, from a script writer, screenwriter, from every type of perspective that we can name. Writers register with other writers, and they really want to know. So I can't wait. I'm super excited to see what you're gonna have going on for 2022, and see how you're gonna rearrange it and captivate it and just wow some more people. So I'm really excited. So before we get out of here, just want you to go in and tell people where they can find you at, and if they want to connect with you, or if they want to, and also where can we find your material at? Can you really put out there where we can find your material at?
Absolutely. You can find my books on Amazon.com. It's available in all markets around the world. And what I mean by all markets around the world, you can find them in Amazon in Mexico. You can find Amazon um in the UK, Germany, Australia, Japan,
Hmm.
um, all over the
Okay.
all over the world. Yes.
Global.
You can
That's what
also
I'm
find
talking
it
about
on
right there.
BookBub. Sorry.
Hmm.
You can also
Okay.
find
You
my
said
books
book
on
bump.
BookBub, BUB.
Okay, book bump. Okay then. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
So are there any? You got them in bookstores as well?
they're not in bookstores, they're not in physical bookstores, but they are online on Amazon in all markets.
Okay. 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 Great. Great. Man, so you heard his first Big Mouth Media podcast with Jacob, and girls run the world, girls with pearls, she in the building, so you know, Aja Pearl, man. So, get at her, man. Like she's open for conversation. She didn't reject my conversation at all when I asked her to be on the show. She was open to it. She said, this is what she said. Sure. And that's all she said. Nothing more,
You could
nothing
also
less. I said,
you could
well,
also find me on Facebook and Instagram. Just Asha Pearl.
you're the first Aja Pearl. No, they said that girls around the world, girls with pearls, you know. Let me see if you're pearly, baby. You know how they say. Cause it's something about them girls with them pearls. So you know how it go. So we're gonna get up out of here, man. Thank you for tuning in once again to the Big Mouth Media Podcast. Shout out to Angelique. Thank you so much. And I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you tuning
Angelique.
in. I appreciate you being in the comment box. And y'all old ladies just keep me motivated, keep me going, because y'all always got something new with y'all. Like it's never a dull moment with y'all. And so, and I know if you know Angelique, yeah, your wheel's definitely turning. So, because she always got something going on. And as I'm seeing now, so do you. So until the next time, we're gonna say peace, love, and have grease. Peace all over the world and land. And if you don't do nothing else, keep God first and stay away from COVID, please. So good night,
Yeah.
and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.